This clip is going to demonstrate how you can use validation rules in Microsoft Access to improve the integrity or accuracy of your data in your database. So here we have the dentist table open. And in the dentist table, there are some columns that might benefit from validation rules. So for example, in the salary column, you'll notice that the lowest salary we have is 30,000 and the highest salary is 50,000. So if in this dental practice, the rules were that the lowest pay salary a dentist can get is 30,000 and the highest salary a dentist can get is 50,000, then we can ensure that every time a dentist is added to this table or modified in the table, that the value will always be between 30 and 50,000. Likewise, say for our dentist status, the status column says that you can have three possible options here. They are contract, part-time, and permanent. So likewise, we could have a rule which says each dentist must have one of those three possible status values. So what we'll do now is look at the salary rule first, and then maybe look at the status rule. So to put a validation rule on a table or on a column in a table, what you first of all must do is go from, in this case, data sheet view, where we can look at data and enter in data, to design view. So currently, as I said, if we want to change Emmett Green's salary from 50,000 to 60,000, Access will allow us to do that. So we click away from it, Access doesn't complain. So in other words, I have now exceeded my 50,000 limit, and the system hasn't picked it up or hasn't detected it and hasn't warned me about my possible mistake. So what we'll do is we're going to put a validation rule on the salary column first and prove it works, and then look at the status column. So to do that kind of work, you need to go to design view and look at the dentist table in design view. And then you've all the columns open up for you. So you can put validation rules or other settings on any of the columns you wish. So in our case, we're interested in the salary. So the salary is a number column, and its field size and other properties are given to us here. But what we're interested in is the validation rule. So if we said that all salaries must be a minimum of 30,000, we can put in greater than or equal to 30,000 and the keyword and then less than or equal to 50,000. So that will mean is when this rule gets put in place, that any new employees or any new dentists we add will have to comply with that minimum value of 30,000 and the maximum value of 50,000. So what we'll do now to prove this works is we're going to have to save the table. So as soon as you put the rule on the table, it's on the salary column again, and it's a validation rule, we can close the table to force Access to check that the rule makes sense. So we want to save changes to our design. We've made a change to the design of the table, so we'll save that. And then Access advises us that there's been a change to data integrity rules. So this validation rule, as I said, is a way of preserving or trying to make the data more accurate or ensure the data is more accurate when users either add in new rows of data, new dentists, or they modify existing rows, modify existing dentists. So Access says to us, data integrity rules have been changed. Existing data may not be valid for the new rules. So do we want to check the existing data? So we could skip it, or we can say we want to check it. So we may as well check it to make sure that the data is accurate within the 30 to 50 range. So we say yes, and Access obviously checks it very quickly, and it concludes everything is okay. So what we'll do now is if we go in here, the first way we can prove that the integrity rule works is we can say take the final dentist again, Emmett Green, and change its value to 60,000. And it's only when we navigate away from the Emmett Green row, the Emmett Green record, and click somewhere else that Access actually validates what we've done, that it will try to prove or disprove that what we've done is appropriate or inappropriate. So we click away from it. Access tells us, it says, one or more of the values that I've entered are not allowed or prohibited by the validation rule, which says greater than or equal to 30,000 and less than or equal to 50,000 for dentist.salary. So as you can see above, I've broken the upper limit, so that's why the 60,000 is rejected. So I have to change it to something. Maybe we'll try and break at the other end. We'll try and put in a value that's too low, and again click away from it. We get the same problem. So this validation rule prevents us entering a value below 30 or entering a value above 60, or sorry, above 50. So we locate that and we'll put it back to where it was. We'll put it back as 50 and we'll leave it at that, and hopefully we'll close the table and everything will be fine. The second way of proving the validation rule works is by trying to add a new row. So if we go down here and put in number 8 temporarily, and we'll put in D for whatever forename he has, and S for surname, and we'll put in M for Milford. The one we're really interested in is this salary value. So we'll put in the uni ID of, we'll make a uni ID of, we'll say 18. And click away from that. That seems to be allowed. And then we put in a hire date of the same as the previous one, 18th of January 91. And we'll put in a legal salary. We'll put it in as 15,000. And we'll make it so as soon as we click away from that field at all, even on the same row, Access doesn't like that. 15,000 needs to become something basically between 30 and 50. 25,000, will that work? It won't. We make it 35,000. Is that allowed? So it is. And we have no validation rule yet on the status column, so if we made him temporary, we'll just put in as temp for the moment, Access will accept it. Okay, because I have no validation rule on the status column, values which is temp is fine. And likewise, I could have I can put in something here that's equally that isn't complying with the current list of specialisms. There's no validation rule on the specialism column either, so I put in an abscess as the complaint here. Access will allow that as well. So what I've done here is I've added a new dentist, and I'm mainly concentrating on the salary. Okay, the salary value here is between the 30 and 50,000 values that have been entered in the validation rule. So therefore, when I close the table, it's accepted. So if I open the table again, that row is still there for number 8. So that demonstrates that the validation rule for the salary column has done what it's meant to do. It ensures that any row in the table will, for any dentist, will have to have a salary value that's between 30 and 50,000. So before I close the table this time, I'm going to delete that record again because it may interfere with my other intentions of putting validation rules elsewhere. So we'll close the table. So that's the first example I said of a validation rule. The other validation rules in this case was on a numeric column, but validation rules can be used on any column you wish. So another case might be, as I said, is to ensure that the status column is one of the 3 values that are occurring here: part-time, permanent, or contract. So that'd be another case where you could use a validation rule. So that's the end of the example.